Good afternoon. Today we are solving proportions using cross products. Another word for product is multiply. So we're going to solve a proportion, which is two fractions that are set equal to each other. So like 5 over 8 equals x over 16. We'd have to solve for x. We're going to do this using cross products or cross multiplying. Set one cross equal to the other cross. So we're going to do that first in a word problem by setting it up first. Each day, the seals at an aquarium are each fed 8 pounds of food for every 100 pounds of their body weight. A seal at the aquarium weighs 280 pounds. How much food should the seal be fed per day? The information that goes together we need to write as a fraction. Well, this seal or the seals are fed 8 pounds of food for every 100 pounds of their body weight. That information goes together, 8 pounds for every 100 pounds. So I'm going to write that as a fraction, 8 over 100. This is 8 pounds of food for 100 pounds of their body weight. So when I set up the other half of our proportion, the other fraction, we need to make sure that the food number is on the top and the body weight number is on the bottom. So they tell us that a seal at the aquarium weighs 280 pounds. Well, that's its body weight, so that's going to go on the bottom. We need to figure out how much food do they need to be fed on the top. So I used x. You can use whatever letter you would like. But we're going to cross multiply. Multiply 100 times x. It's just 100x. And then we're going to multiply 8 multiplied by 280. Notice I set them equal to each other, because we're going to solve it like an equation. First, I need to multiply 8 multiplied by 280. I plugged that in and I got 2,240 equal to 100x. So now I know this is multiplied, so the opposite is divide by 100. And we should get 22.4. Dividing by 100 was moving the decimal 2 spots. So we solve for the top, which is 22.4 pounds, LBS is short for pounds, of food. Let's keep going. Here are some that are already set up for us. We just need to cross multiply to solve them. So first, I'm going to set one cross equal to the other cross. It doesn't matter which one you do first. I'm going to do 8 times 21 on one side and 7m times 24 on the other. I'm going to plug in 8 times 21, and I get 168. On the other side, we know that these are touching, this is multiplied, so we can really multiply all of these. 7 times 24. I also get 168, but I have multiplied by m as well. So to get rid of that 168, it's multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 168. 168 over 168 is just 1, and those cancel, also give us 1m, or just m. So m equals 1. On this one, this cross is easy, n times 5 is 5n. But on the other side, we have 9 multiplied by n minus 12. Well, if you have an addition or subtraction, you need to keep this part together, so we're really multiplying 9 by this whole piece, n minus 12. So what we're really going to do is we're going to have to distribute, or multiply it by both parts. If you want, you can draw a box. 9 times n is 9n. 9 times negative 12 should give us 108. And over here we have 5n. So when we solve this, I'm going to move this over to the other side. If you move the 5n, that's fine. You'll get the same answer. There's just be a 0 there. I'm just going to move it so that nothing is left without something on that side. So those eliminate. 5 minus 9 is negative 4n, and then equals negative 108. So when I solve this, the opposite of multiplying here is divide. Don't forget that step there. That's 1, so we have n equals 27. We know two negatives multiply and divide to make a positive. flip on over, we'll do a couple more like this. We're going to cross multiply. Multiply one side, 2 times x is 2x. 3 times this whole piece, we have 3 times x minus 6. And we need to distribute. So 3 times x is just 3x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. This is another one where if I move the 2, there's nothing left there, so I'm just going to move the 3 instead. You'd get the same answer. 2 minus 3 is negative 1x, and then we have a negative 18. And then our last step, the opposite of multiplying by negative 1, is divide by negative 1. And we get a positive 18. Alright, on the next one we have m times 4 is 4m. Set equal to the other side, which is 5 times this whole piece, m minus 6. So let's distribute this. 5 times m is 5m. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. And then we need all the m's on the same side. I'm going to move the 5m over, subtract 5m. 4 minus 5 is a negative 1m. And we have negative 30. And then last, the opposite of multiplying by negative 1 is dividing by negative 1. So that gives us now a positive 30. These next two, this one's the same thing. We just have 2 sets of parentheses because they both have addition or subtraction. So this one is 2 times x plus 4. And the other side set equal to 3 times 3x plus 5. So let's multiply these out. Ooh, let's try that again. That's better. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9x. 3 times 5 is 15. So we're going to get all the x's on the same side. I'm going to move these 2 because they're smaller. Leave everything positive. So we have 8 equals 987x plus 15. And then we want x all by itself, so let's move this 15, get rid of our adding and subtracting. Subtract 15. We have 7x, and there's more negatives, would be a negative 7. And then last, the opposite of multiply is divide. So 7 over 7 is just 1, so negative 1. On the other side, we have 2c times 54. There's no adding or subtracting there, this is all multiplication. Set equal to the other side, which is 24 times c plus 7. So let's multiply this out. 54 times 2 is going to give us 108c. And over here, 24 times c is 24c. 24 times 7, I'm going to plug that in my calculator. 168, so plus 168. We want all the c's on the same side, so these ones are smaller. I'm going to subtract that over to the other side. 8 minus 4 is 4. 10 minus 2 is 8, so we have 84c equals 168. And then the opposite of multiply is divide. Divide by 84. And 84 goes into 168 2 times. If you're not sure, type it in your calculator. Alright, over onto the next page. Let's try that again. The ship model kits sold at a hobby store have a scale of 1 feet to 600 feet. This 1 foot represents the model is smaller than real life, the 600 feet. So we can take that information and write it as a fraction. 1 foot to 600 feet. This is the model, and this is in real life. We're going to set up a proportion. It says a completed model of the Queen Elizabeth II is 1.6 feet long. Estimate the actual length of the Queen Elizabeth II. So they just said we need to find the real part, the actual distance. The 1.6 is the model. So cross multiply, 1 times x is 1x. 600 times 1.6, let's plug that in. We get 960. Now if you divide it by 1, you still have 960. And we're talking about feet. There we go. Here's another one. Be careful on this one though. It says at an aquarium, the ratio, so this isn't a proportion, the ratio of freshwater fish to saltwater fish is 3 to 5. So we have a part fish, part freshwater and part saltwater. So 3 to 5, this is just information they're telling you. This is a part and this is a part. There's no total. When we set up our fraction or our proportion, we need to have a total on the bottom, part to total. So the freshwater fish are the 5, and the saltwater fish are the 5 part, the 3 and the 5. It says estimate the number of each kind of fish if the aquarium holds or has 640 fish. And then how many more saltwater are there than freshwater fish? So we know out of all of these parts, there's 3 parts fresh and 5 parts saltwater, so a total would be 8 parts fish. And the total number of fish is 640. So these are both totals. Then we need to figure out what part. So we can pick either the 3 or the 5. I'm going to just pick the 3 first. 3 parts freshwater out of a total of 8 parts. We need to figure out how many fish is that. So we're going to cross multiply. 8 times x is 8x. 3 times 640 is 1,920. And then we're going to divide by 8. So we have 1,920 divided by 8. We get 240. Now we just figured out that's the freshwater fish. We need to figure out how many saltwater fish there are too. So we could set up the same proportion with a 5. 5 over 8 equals x over 640. We're just looking for the different part now. We found both parts. But we also know that there's a total of 640 fish. If 240 are freshwater, wouldn't 400 left over be saltwater? If you solve this, you will get the same answer. So there's 400 saltwater and 200 freshwater fish. But they're asking how many more saltwater fish are there than freshwater fish. So we just have to subtract. 400 minus 240 will give us 160 more saltwater than freshwater. Here's another one, same way. At a typical National Football League game, the ratio, ratio tells us part to part, of females to males in attendance is 2 to 3. So this is female, this is male. That's just information. Estimate the number of male and female spectators at a game that has 75,000 spectators. We know that's a total on the bottom. And we know there are a total of 2 plus 3 would give us 5 parts of people. So I'm going to figure out the females first. 2. So I'm going to use the letter F for female. So let's cross multiply. 5 times F is 5F. 75,000 times 2 gives us 150,000. And then this is multiply. The opposite of multiplying is divide. So the number of females is going to give us, to be 30,000. If you want, we could set up the same proportion for the males. 3 out of 5 parts are males, and there are a total of 75,000 people. However, we know that there are a total of 75,000, and 30,000 are female, so that leaves 45,000 male. This one they just asked you how many of each, so we know 30,000 females and 45,000 males. Alright, our last two problems. It says a map has a scale of 1 inch to 38 feet. These scales are fractions. 1 inch to 38 feet. Inches, feet. Use the given map distance to find the actual distance. So they're telling you on the map 5.5 inches. Inches are on the top, so that also goes on the top. And then on the bottom, we need to figure out how many feet would that be in real life. So we're going to cross multiply. 1x equals 38 times 5.5. Oops. 38 times 5.5 gives us exactly 209. If we divide by 1, we still get x equals 209. Second one, we're going to use the same scale because it's the same map. 1 over 38. And our inches are still in the top, and the map is in inches in real life, or in feet. So we have 2.25. We need to figure out what x is. 1 times x is 1x. 38 times 2.25 gives us 85.5. Again, if you divide by 1, it's still 85.5 when we're talking about feet. Alright, you have a homework assignment. It is right here. The odds, 33 through 39, all of them, and then 43 as well.